For us to work out the area, you have the worktop, and it's measured in millimeters. Now they want the area in meters squared. Okay, now of course when we work out area, we know it's length times width for a rectangle. But if they want it in meters squared, we're better off changing the units to start with. Okay, put it in terms of meters first. Now, 3,000 millimeters. Well, if we write it in terms of centimeters, now we know there's 10 centimeters. So there's 10 millimeters in a centimeter. Okay, so we simply need to divide this by 10, don't we, to see how many 10 millimeters are in here. That'll give us, in terms of centimeters then, and 300 centimeters. Well, we know 100 centimeters is a meter, so 300 will be 3 meters. Okay, for the 700 millimeter then, the width of it, well, remember now 10 millimeters is a centimeter, so there'll be 70 centimeters there, and 70 centimeters, well, if 100 centimeters is a meter, 70 centimeters is 0.7 meters. So we've got to do then 3 length times width, 3 times 0.7. Well, you remember when you multiply with decimals, just ignore the decimal point and do 3 times 7, which is 21. But in here then, of course, because there is one decimal place, be one decimal place in our answer, so 2.1 meters squared. Part B then, it says a kitchen cupboard is in the shape of a cuboid. Its capacity is 420,000 centimeter cube. When they talk about capacity, they're referring to the volume, yeah? Okay. Internally, the cupboard measures 60 wide and 70 deep. Calculate the internal height of the cupboard. Okay, so if you remember the formula for a cuboid, it's just length times width times height, isn't it? And in this case, they're telling us it's 420,000, but they're also telling us like the length and the width here, so to speak. So we can put 60 times 70 there. It's the height we want to work out. So we can calculate this then. This is easy to do, isn't it? Because 6 times 7 is 42. Add the 2 zeros. And then working backwards then, we can work out the height, because you're times in here, take it over and divide. So the zeros will cancel. And you just left them with 4,200 divided by 42. Well, 42 divided by 42 is 1, and the 2 zeros, so it's obviously 100, isn't it? Yeah, so 100 centimeters. Okay, so then part C, we've got kitchen worktop measures 301 to the nearest centimeter. So you can see here, I've got my measurement going up in centimeters. And then he's got 2 of these worktops, and he needs them to fit together along a wall measuring 605, but this is to the nearest 5 centimeters. So you can see now my scale is going up in 5 centimeters. So he finds that they don't fit. Explain why this could have happened. Well, they might not fit if you've got worst case scenario where you've got the greatest possible size cupboards. Now, because they're going up, because the scale is going up in centimeters, it's measured to the nearest centimeter. The greatest it could have actually been, of course, is 301.5. Okay, so it could be between 301, 302. That's the most it could be. If you've got 2 of them, okay, you'll have them joined together. Okay, so if we add that up, you get 603 centimeters. But then if we look at, as I said, the worst case scenario, it could be that the wall is the least possible wall. So the least possible wall will be here, yeah? Because the scale's going up in 5s. The least wall would be that value there, which is between, so it'll be 602.5 centimeters. So you can see there, you're not going to fit them in. So you could say, look, the 2 greatest sized worktops are too long for the least size wall. It also says state the greatest possible difference between the lengths of the wall and the 2 worktops. So looking at the other point of view, if there was like a gap there so that actually the 2 worktops fit together and would fit in easily, and there's a gap at the end, you've got the worst case scenario in that sense. You can consider the the two least worktops joined together. Okay, so that value there, the least worktops would be 300.5 and 300.5. Add them together, you get 601 exactly. The greatest possible worktop will be 600 and 7.5, yeah? So there's a gap then, so they'll fit in easily, but there'll be a huge gap. So the gap there, the greatest gap, the greatest difference will be that, take away that, which is 6.5 centimeters.